like Professor Jagbir Singh Ji, Honorable Chancellor of Central University, Punjab, the Chief Guest of the inaugural session, Guest of Honor, Professor Baldev Bhai Sharma Ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor Raipur, the President of the inaugural session, Professor Kapil Kapoor Ji, former Professor of English, Center for Linguistics and English, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, and Shri Vikash Kumar, President, Indian Research Scholars Association, who contacted me for this lecture. My salutations also to Professor Brajendra Pandeji, who gave my contact to Vikash Kumar. Now, let me come to my subject proper, political aspects in Valmiki Ramayana. The Puranic recitation of tales from Ramayana and Mahabharata, pointing out its contemporary relevance, is even now a living tradition. If a world view is required to make literature meaningful in terms of shared human experience, then the Indian epics offer a widely accepted basis of such a common background which permeates the collective unconscious of the whole nation, as being pointed out by Dr. Meenakshi Mukherjee in her work, The Twice Born Fiction, Heinemann Publications, New Delhi, London, 1971, page 135. Ramayana is a text which contains tried, trusted, and tested truths, and now it is the time to revalue, reassess, relook, reinterpret it according to the present requirements, raising it from religious dogmas and rituals with resoluteness, not due to the repugnant material necessities and jingoistic tendencies, but to give a universal outlook with an unbiased mind, on account of which the universal brotherhood could be achieved, which in fact is the universal message undermined by the foremost poet Valmiki, who resulted the spontaneous outflow of powerful feeling, recollected the ghastly incident, out of which pointed out the sweetest impressions on the inquisitive poet Bhavabhuti, who exclaimed in unequivocal terms that karuna or pathos is the only sentiment which in turn can be gleaned in the Karuna Lahari of Jagannatha Pandita, who was a court poet of Shah Jahan, and the contemporary poet Rasik Vihari Joshi, former professor of Delhi University, visiting professor at Mexico and Cambodia, who has penned Karuna Kataksha Lahari, for which he got the coveted Sahitya Academy Award, which proves the point on hand that Karuna is a universal sentiment which transcends time and space, in keeping with the seminal work of Anand Kumaraswamy, Time and Eternity. At the very outset, I should mention that I am just sharing some of my thoughts on the law and governance in Indian epics with particular reference to Ramayana, and not telling you something new. What our ancient logician Jayanta Bhatta articulated. How can we possibly consider this totally new? Consider all this as innovations merely at the level of the mode of expression, which Chaucer also echoed in the West. Of the old books, in good faith, cometh all this new science that men learn. With due pardon to T.S. Eliot, who remarked that it is exactly as wasteful for a poet to do what has been done already as for a biologist to rediscover Mendel's discoveries. I am sharing these thoughts just to throw some light on our Adikavi Valmiki, who was as much a Kavi as a Rishi, in keeping with the adage, non-Rishihi kurute kavyam, Rishihi kila darshana. As he was Shastra personified, Tantra typified, Yoga indoctrinated, and Upanishad beautified. As he was a beautiful blend of intellect and imagination, which is a rare amalgamation indeed, as could be evinced in later stalwarts like Shankaracharya or Vedanta Deshika, for that matter, and culminating in the genius of Kalidasa. Thus, my survey could be from Adi Kavi to Rashtra Kavi, and one cannot certainly talk about polity without the concept of Rashtra, for which I have to take you to Samskrit Sahitya Mein Rashtriya Bhavana, penned by Harinarayan Dikshit of Kuman University and published from Devavani Parishad, Delhi. My topic centers around four statements, two from Orient and two from Occident. Anand Kumar Sani states, none can be truly qualified to govern who cannot make themselves one with the people. Essays in Indian Nationalism, Munshiram Manohar Lal, reprint 2013, page 142. Secondly, Confucius, the king loves what the people love and hates what the people hate. Only then he is called the father of the people. Now coming to the Indian context, Kautilya states, in the happiness of the subjects lies the king's happiness. In their welfare, his welfare, what pleases himself, the king shall not consider good, but what pleases his subjects, the king shall consider good. Here you should permit me, if I take the liberty of quoting one incident which happened 111 years ago when the Maharaja of Mysore, Nalvadi Krishnarajabadiyar, visited London. The people welcomed him. You are coming from the land of Shama Shastri, you are welcome. Because the English translation of Kautilya's Arthashastra was by Shama Shastri was so famous in the West, but unfortunately, King himself did not know about it. Having come back to India, Nalvadi Krishnarajabadiyar sent word for Shama Shastri. Shama Shastri with folded hands went there. What grave mistake have I committed, Your Majesty? The king said, you have not committed any mistake. I have committed a blunder by not recognizing you in my state, wherein you have been recognized world over. Please don't leave my state and go anywhere, which is in keeping with the popular Subhashita, Swagrahe Pujyate Murkha, Swagrame Pujyate Prabhu, Swadeshe Pujyate Raja, Vidvan Sarvatra Pujyate. Shukraniti also, I must quote here, the ruler must always be wise and intelligent. Even so, he should not stand upon his own views at any time. Rather, he should consider the views of the members of the house, officers, people at large, and others who are present in the house, and then take his own decision based on the cumulative effect of all that. The number 24 is of utmost significance in our tradition. Gayatri Mantra has 24 syllables, according to Gayatri Tantra. According to Dharma Sindhu, we have 24 names of Keshava, which occurs while performing Sandhya. There are 24 gunas, according to Nayayikas. There are 24 daughters of Daksha, according to Vayupurana 10:23:31. There are 24 Tirthankaras in Jaina tradition. There are 24 Tattvas, according to Viveka Chintamani. Incarnation of Rama took place on the 24th Paryaya of Treta Yuga. One of the famous Kannada humorists of the last century by name Narayana Kasturi had 24 fingers with his birth, 6 in both hands and 6 in both legs. And he humorously points out that his grandmother was the first surgeon who chopped off the 4 fingers as she thought it was inauspicious to have 6 fingers in each hand. Valmiki Ramayana consists of 24,000 stanzas and hence known as Chaturvimshati Sahasri Samhita, and that exactly is the number of books in my personal collection. While coming from library to my study every day at Indian Institute of Advanced Studies Shimla, through the spiral staircase, I climbed 24 steps, which reminds me of Abhinav Gupta's statement, Urdhvardhvamaruhya yadatta tattvam dipashyate shranti mavedayanti phalankadadhyai parikalpitanam viveka sopana paramparana. You know, the most important thing is viveka, or the wisdom which we should get. And hence, Shankaracharya wrote Viveka Chudamani, which has been translated as crest jewel of discrimination by Christopher Isherwood and Swami Prabhavananda in United States, which has become so famous now. The most important thing is wisdom. That's why Tennyson states, knowledge comes, but wisdom lingers. Our forefathers had Viveka. That's why they could do all such great works. We have mere bookish knowledge and we don't have Viveka, and hence we fumble and tumble at the crucial hour, and in the bargain blame our forefathers that they had no paper qualification. Paper qualification is nothing when compared to the inner wisdom. In one sentence, if one wants to sum up Ramayana, look at this beautiful stanza. Adau Ramatapovanadigamanam hatva mrugam kanchanam Vaidehi haranam jatayu maranam Sugriva sambhashanam Vali nigrahanam samudrakaranam Lanka puridahanam Paschat Ravana kumbhakarna nidhanam Yetadhi Ramayanam. Sri Rama went to the woodland in times olden and there killed a deer that was golden. Ravana seized Sita and killed Jatayu, the raptor. Rama's and Sugriva's pact dispatched Vali, his brother. There was a sea crossing and the razing of Lanka, where those slain included Ravana and Kumbhakarna. This, in short, is the story of Ramayana. Now, let me come to the importance and the significance of the name Rama. There are two letters, Ra and Ma. The name Rama is quite unique. Its potency and sanctity are matters of personal experience. The most important thing in Vedanta is experience, not the bookish knowledge. Shankaracharya in his Bhashya says, Nahi Shruti Shatenapi Agnihi Shitaha iti Abhyapagantam Shakyate. Let 100 Vedavakyas come and say that fire is cold. What is your experience? By the time you go there, you feel the sensation. That exactly is the experience which is talked by the arrogant Shvetaketu by his father Aruni in the 6th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad belonging to Samaveda, where he gives a practical example. O son, please take a tumbler and allow and put water into it full and put some salt into it. Allow the salt to dissolve. Sip the topmost portion. How is it salty? Middle portion. How is it salty? Bottom portion. How is it salty? Do you see salt through your naked eyes? No. How do you say salt is present in water? You taste it. You experience it. When the ordinary water has to be said as salty water by experience, how do you state the Aham Brahmasmi or Tattvamasi or Ayamatma Brahma or Prajnanam Brahma, the 4 Vakyas occurring in 4 Vedas without experience? Therefore, the Parama Pramana, according to us, is experience. I should eat when I am hungry. If you eat, my hunger will not go. Therefore, always the experience is very important, and hence Shankaracharya wrote, not Pratyakshanabhuti, not Parokshanabhuti, but Aparokshanabhuti, and the Atma Bodha. Bodha is the most important thing. Buddha got Bodha under a Bodhi tree, and hence he became Buddha. That's why Pratibodha Viditam Atam Amrutatvam Hivindate Atmana Vindate Viryam Vidyaya Vindate Mritam. Kenopanishad states, Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Manoyat Bhajoha Bhacham So Pranasya Prana Chakshashas Chakshu Atimucha Dira Pretyasman Lokadamrita Bhavanti Natatra Chakshur Gacchati Navak Gacchati No Manaha Navitmo Navijani Mo Yate Tadanushishyat Anyadeva Tadvidita Tato Avidita Dadi Iti Shushramadhiranam Yenastad Vyata Chakshire Yadvachana Viditam Yenava Gavyudyate Tateva Brahmatam Vidhi Nedam Nidamupasate Yanmanasana Manute Yenahur Manomatam Tadeva Brahmatam Vidhi Nedam Nidamupasate. This is what Professor Kapil Kapoor was talking in his presidential remarks, because you are Brahman. Why don't you realize that? How to realize that I am Brahman? To take out the thought that I am not Brahman remains what you are Brahman. The 16th mantra of Ishavasya Upanishad is a classic example for this. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitam mukham tattvam paushan aparunu satyadharmaya tushtaye. Take out the veil of darkness. What remains is only light. Light does not come from outside. Light is within you. That's why they say that Kinjyotihi vanamana hanime ratro pradeepadikam It's called Ekashloki Prakarana of Shankaracharya, which also happens in the 86th verse of Shatashloki, again composed by Shankaracharya. You see, Shankara had a brilliant intellect as a poet, as a philosopher, as a social reformer, because he could write a verse from one verse to that of 100 verses with the same stretch of imagination, in keeping with what Shakespeare says, poets, lunatics, and lovers are of imagination all compact. Without imagination, no poet can ever write. Poets are born and not made. You can't make a poet. He should be born into it. Everybody should not write poetry, because then it doesn't become poetry at all. Therefore, the name Rama is quite unique. Its potency and sanctity are matters of personal experience. Great sages of our land enjoyed its sweetness and sang eloquently about it. Valmiki, our Adi Kavi of Sanskrit literature, Jato Jagati Valmikau Kaviritya Vida Bhavat Kavi iti tato vyase kavayastvai dandini. Therefore, Kavi Kavayaha. That's how we give the name. The word Kavi was not in existence till Valmiki made his grand appearance on the poetic scene of our holy land. Ramayana, according to our ancient accounts, was a highway robber to start with. The 7 great sages, headed by Narada, were once waylaid by him, and they took pity on him and saw his future emanation as a great saint, poet, and gave him the name Rama in the reverse fashion, that is Mara, whose earlier name was Ratnakara, chanted mantra that way and became a great saint. Later on, he was destined to compose the immortal epic, the Ramayana, at the behest of Brahma. There are so many Ramayanas. In every regional language of our holy land, we have got Ramayanas. All the world over, we have got Ramayanas. A.K. Ramanujan, in one of his long articles, comments about 300 Ramayanas. There are as many countries as those of Ramayanas. Robert Goldman has translated the entire Ramayana in 6 chapters from California University. And he had visited Bangalore in 1990. And when I started talking to him in English, he started conversing me in Sanskrit. He said, Aham Suvarna Purushaha, for Goldman. I said, Yadi Bhavan Suvarna Purushaha, Asmakam Mantri Api Suvarna Purushaha. Because Bangarappa was the chief minister of Karnataka at that time. Bangaru means Suvarna. Idam Mama Suvarna Vakashaha. Yet Bhavatam Krite Idanim Sambhashanam Aham Yunajmi. This is how I started. Because the people who speak Sanskrit, you see, there's a different charm altogether. No translation can ever give the sense of original, because all translators are mutilators, as the Italian proverb would have. And the best kind of translation is like kissing one's own wife over a veil, as French people may have it. Ramayana, at the behest of Brahma, the creator God. Now let us have a peep into the efficacy and potency of the word Rama, which keeps even now large concourses of people spellbound when it's just chanted. Let us also at the outset keep in mind the fact that Rama refers to the son of Dasharatha, but not either Parashurama or Balarama. Please take into account, because there are other Ramas also. Ramo Ramascha. Among Dashavataras, we have the concept of Rama and Rama repeated twice. That is Sri Rama and Parashurama. Take, for example, Champur Ramayana Ayodhya Kanda, where the sense, the sound echoes the sense. This is not something which we inherit from the West. In the 14th century, pre-Raphaelitic poets like Dante Gabriel Rossetti and Krishna Rossetti, who said that sound echoing the sense. That's all along there in the 9th century Bhoja's Champur Ramayana. You see, who is Parashurama and who is Sri Rama? For Parashurama, he uses only harsh syllables. For Sri Rama, soft, delicate symbols. Tasma samasta kshatravarga patana varishta dhara parashvata bharana bhishana vesha bhargava bangada parichinnatara shaurya shalini. Saujanya Bhasane, Jananuraga Nilaye, Nirmatsare, Vatsale, Vatse, Asmin Vishwam Paravaram, Chirakala Daryamanam, Agir Namatastanavatarya, Vishanti Suka, Manabhavitam, Avilashamiti. You know, former half is Parashurama and latter half is Sri Rama. I need not spell out. The words themselves echo that kind of thing. And this has been beautifully brought out by Swami Ramabhadracharya in his recently written epic Bhargava Ragaviyam, which can stand on par with Bharavi and Maga from the point of view of literary excellence. The name Rama is sweet and is composed of sweet-sounding letters Ra and Ma. The semi-vowel Ra and the labial Ma make a sweet combination. Whenever Valmiki uses the name Rama, he uses the epithets Abhirama. You know, Abhi is an upasarga. Abhi, nirnis, durdus. When you add upasargas to dhatus, the meaning sometimes changes, sometimes it gets enunciated. Abhirama means beautiful. That's why we have got Sundarakanda. And Sundarakanda has been translated into English by K.R. Srinivas Iyengar as Epic Beautiful. That is the translation which he has made, being published from Science Academy. Madhura, sweet. How can his experience be otherwise? One of the verses of Ramaraksha Stotra states, Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam. I bow down to Valmiki, the cuckoo bird, which perched on the bank of the tree of poesy, sings sweetly the sweet-lettered name Rama. Valmiki refers to the sweetness of Ramanama at several places in Ramayana. Take, for example, Balakanda, 22nd canto, 11th verse. Rameti Madhuram Vanim Vishwamitro Abhyabhashata. Again, Balakanda, 74th canto, 24th verse. Rishayo Rama Rameti Madhuram Vakyam Abhruvam. Now, let us come to the definition of the term Rama. It is derived from the verbal root Ramu, first conjunction, Atmanepadi verb, meaning one who delights oneself. Ramate iti Rama. In other words, Rama is one who is always cheerful and blissful. Only the Supreme Being can be blissful and cheerful. To quote Upanishad, Raso Vaisaha Rasagahyevayam Ladvanandi Bhavati in Taittiriya Upanishad, which belongs to Krishna Yajurveda, on account of which Shankaracharya, being born in Krishna Yajurveda, wrote 3 Mangala shlokas before commencing his Bhashya in Prasanna Gambhira style, which he is supposed to have written in his 16th year. That's the greatness of Shankaracharya. Ashtavarshe Chaturvedi, Dwadashe Sarvashastravitu, Shodashe Kritavan Bhashyam, Dvatrimshe Munirabhyagat. What a life it is. Shankara 32, Vivekananda 39. By the time they reach 40, if we know that there are people like Shankara and Vivekananda, we are grateful. That's all. That is our caliber, what to do. The second derivation is one who makes others also happy. Ramayati iti Ramaha. This again is in conformity with the Shruti. Yesha Kyevanandayati. He added, makes all happy. The third derivation is he in whom all the sages delight. Ramante yoginaha asmin iti Ramaha. Valmiki himself gives the etymology of this word in Ayodhya Kanda, 53rd chapter, 1st verse. Rama Ramayatam Shreshtaha iti hovacha lakshanam. Rama, who is foremost among those who delight others, spoke to Lakshmana in the following manner. Saint Tyagaraja, who was a great Rama Bhakta, explains the secret power of this name in one of his immortal songs. Ma is the very life of Panchakshari mantra, dear to the Lord Shiva. Ra is the very life of Ashtakshari mantra, dear to Lord Madhava, that is Vishnu. In other words, if we remove the letter Ma from Panchakshari, it becomes lifeless. It then reads Nashivaya, meaning there is no welfare. And welfare, this is what Professor Kapil Kapoor was talking in his inaugural session. If we take away the letter Ra from Ashtakshari mantra, it also becomes lifeless. Reading the Om Namo Nayanyo, meaning there is no way to go. Seeing the potency of these two Bijaksharas, that is seed letters, the great sage Vasishtha joined them, Ra plus Ma, and gave it as a name to the first son of Dasharatha. So according to Saint Tyagaraja, Rama contains within himself the powers of both Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. In the olden days, there was always a controversy that Shiva is better than Vishnu, Vishnu is better than Shiva. Let me here point out one incident which happened regarding the case of Appai Dikshita, the great Shaivite. He was saying that always Shiva is better than Vishnu. One day, the Vaishnavite devotees came and challenged, today you should say that Vishnu is better than Shiva. All right, he accepted. Shiva adapyadiko Vishnu. All the Vaishnavites went away happily. Then his own followers came and said, how is it every day you say that Vishnu is less than Shiva, but now you have claimed that Vishnu is greater than Shiva, how do you account for that? He said, that's the first line of the stanza. I had 3 more lines to say. They went away impatiently. It is not my fault. Look at the second line. Vishnurapyadikosmyaham. I am greater than Vishnu. Not out of arrogance. Shivas ekam, Vishnur dasha, mama janmani asankyani. Shiva took only one birth, you see. Vishnu took dasha avtaras. Vishnu was born 9 more times than Shiva. Therefore, Vishnu became greater than Shiva. I am greater than both Shiva and Vishnu put together because I don't know how many births I have taken and how many more births I am going to take in future. For which we have got a scriptural evidence in Bhagavad Gita. Bahu nime vititani janma nitavacha Arjuna tanyaham veda sarvadi nattam veta karantapa. Look here, Arjuna, you also had many births, I also had many births. But I know what exactly I was born with, which name, in which birth, which you don't know. That's all the difference. This is Krishna's advice to Arjuna. Who is Krishna? Karshayati iti Krishna. One who draws everybody towards him. Adaram madaram, vadanam madaram, nayanam madaram, hasitam madaram, madhuradipate rakhilam vadanam. Which is not Madhura of Krishna. Everything pertaining to Krishna is beautiful. His eyes are beautiful, his teeth is beautiful, his lips are beautiful, his nose is beautiful. Where is the end for that? If you go on like that. Kalidasa, our Rashtra Kavi, explains in Raghuvamsha, Canto 10, verse 67, that the name Rama was given by Vasishta to the first boy of Dasharatha, being attacked by his wonderful charm and name, became the first and foremost auspicious symbol of the welfare of the universe. Rama ityabhiramena vapushatasya choditaha namadeyam guruschakre jagat prathama mangalam. Guru. Please don't translate the word guru into English. You cannot translate. It's untranslatable. Culture-specific terms, they cannot be translated. They can only be explained, like dharma, for instance. History of Dharma Shastra, P.V. Kane gives 10 pages of information on one word dharma in the first volume, which he wrote in 1952, for which he got Sahitya Academy Award in 1954. History of Dharma Shastra. 8 volumes are there to understand dharma. Dharma is not religion. Dharma is not code of conduct. Dharma is not ethics. Dharma is not morality. All that put together constitutes dharma. Dharana dharma ityahuhu dharma eva hato hanti dharmo rakshati rakshitaha yada yada hi dharmasya dhanir bhavati bharata abhyattanava dharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaha paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkruta dharma samstapanartaya sambhavani yuge yuge. Ramayana started with one word, Satyam Vada. Mahabharata started with Dharmam Chara. Bhagavata started with Raso Vaisaha. All the 3 you find in the Shruti Vakya, Taittiriya Upanishad. Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, Matra Devo Bhava, Pita Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Aditi Devo Bhava, Yamyana Vadyani Karmani, Talisevita Vyani, no Itarani. You can take Sanskrit no or English no. The meaning does not differ. No Itarani, don't do other things. Again, we have to go to Valmiki for first-hand accounts of Rama's personal charm. He says in Sundarakanda thus, Ramaha Kamala Patrakshaha Sarva Sattva Manoharaha. Rama, the lotus-eyed one, charms all the living beings by his handsome form. Says Shatananda, the chief priest of King Janaka, was struck with wonder and admiration when he saw Rama for the first time. Balakanda, 51st canto, 2nd verse. Rama Sandarshana Deva Param Vismayamagataha. Whenever the word Rama is used by Valmiki, he invariably adds the epithet Kamala Patrakshaha or Rajiva Lochanaha or any synonym of it. See some of the phrases. used by Valmiki in relation to Rama. Ayodhya Kanda, second canto, 44th verse. Ramo Lokabhi Ramoyam. This one, Rama, is bewitchingly beautiful by his personal charisma. Chandrakantananam Ramam Ativa Priyadarshanam Rupa Audarya Gunai Pumsa Drishti Chittapaharinam. Same Ayodhya Kanda, third canto, 29th verse. Rama with a beautiful face like the moon is extremely handsome to look at. He steals the eyes and hearts of the onlookers through his wonderful form and qualities like magnanimity. Yascha Raman na pashyetu, yancha Ramo na pashyati, ninditaha sarvalokeshu, swatmapyenam vigarhate. Same Ayodhya Kanda, 17th canto, 14th verse. He who does not see Rama, he whom Rama does not see, become ridiculed in the eyes of the people. Even his own self taunts him. In the famous verse, wherein Lord Shiva informs Parvati that repeating the name thrice is equal to repeating it 1,000 times. We have a clue to this calculation. This is the verse. Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. According to numerology called Katapayadi, each letter of the Sanskrit alphabet has a specific numerical value. Ra has the value of 2 and Ma the value of 5. So, saying once Rama means saying 2 into 5, 10 times. So, when we say the name thrice, it becomes 10 into 10 into 10, that is 1,000-fold in potency. Such is the mystery about the term Rama. That's why sage Valmiki says towards the end of the epic, Yuddha Kanda, 128th canto, 102nd verse, Ramo Ramo Ramayati Prajanam Abhavan Katha Ramabhutam Jagadbhutam Rame Rajyam Prashasati. When Rama ruled over kingdom, people spoke about the exploits of Rama, saying Rama, Rama, Rama. Incidentally, it may be noted in this context, Valmiki used the word Rama 5 times, making its power 100,000-fold. Hanuman Nataka, a beautiful drama in Sanskrit, opens with an invocation to the name Rama itself. Kalyananam Nidhanam Kalimalaharanam Pavanam Pavananam Patheyam Yan Mumuksho Sapadi Parapada Pratyaye Prastitasya Vishrantistanamekam Kavivarachasam Jivanam Sajjananam Bijam Dharmadrumasya Prabhavata Bhavatam Bhutaye Ramanama. The name Rama is the abode of all welfare. It can destroy the sins of Kali Yuga. It is the holy of the holiest. It is the food that one can take with him on his onward march to liberation. It is a sole resting place for the worlds of all the great poets. It is the very life of the virtuous. It is a seed for the tree of Dharma. May such name bring in all good to you. Now, let me come to Rama as the embodiment of Dharma, because we talk about welfare state. After some time, I am going to do that. So, as a background to that, we should know how Rama was the very embodiment of Dharma. Sri Rama, who was the very incarnation of Supreme Self, is rightly described as embodiment of Dharma. Dharma is a term which could be understood, but which cannot be translated into any other language. This word comes from the word dhru, which means supporting, elevating, holding. That which is the support of the universe. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 1.4.14 states, Sahanaiva Vyabhavat Shreyo Rupam Atyasrajata Dharmam Tadeta Kshatrasya Kshatram Yad Dharmaha Tasmat Dharmat Param Nasti Yo Vaisa Dharma Satyam Vaitat Tasma Satyam Vadantamahu Dharmam Vadatiti Dharmam Va Vadantam Satyam Vadatiti Yetat Vaitad Vayam Bhavati. Yet he did not flourish. He created the Dharma, which is an excellent form. Dharma is the controller of Kshatriya. Therefore, there is nothing higher than Dharma. Even a weak man hopes to defeat a strong man by Dharma, as one does through the king. That's why they have the statement, Yatha Raja tatha praja. If the king is dharmic, people will definitely be dharmic. If the king himself does not adhere to dharma, then how can he expect his people to adhere to it? That's why the glorious dynasty of Raghuvamsha unfortunately had a very sad end with that of Agnivarna, who was very voluptuous and who never controlled his people and who used to meet his people once in a year by opening his balcony and showing his left leg. That was the kind of Agnivarna on account of which the Raghuvamsha dynasty collapsed. The glory of creation was not complete without dharma. Dharma may mean action approved by the scriptures. We have got scriptures like Prabhu Samhita, like the orders of the king. You cannot question it. You cannot ask a king, why I should do like that? Can I not alter it? Can I not negate it? Can I not neglect it? No. Prabhu Samhita has to be followed as it is. That's why Shruti is Prabhu Samhita, Puranas are Mitra Samhita, and Nataka is Kanta Samhita. That's why we have got the three kinds of Samhitas in our tradition. And it may mean a sadhana or a means, and then it signifies righteousness. This is what Professor Kapil Kapoor was talking about, righteousness. That's the translation he gave to dharma. Therefore, the nearest possible translation in English for the original words dharma is righteousness, that's all. It may also mean, in another sense, the very principle which is a support of ground of everything in the universe. In this supreme dharma means adhara or substratum of everything. Without adhara, nothing can stand on its own because it will collapse. Sri Rama is described as very embodiment of dharma in both these senses. He being the very incarnation of supreme self. Sriman Narayana is the Paramadharma. In this sense, Rama is dharma itself. The means to be adopted for attaining any object of life is the supreme being himself. One who chooses the Lord as his means attains wealth or self-experience. Then what is dharma? Dharma has been defined in different ways for bringing home the idea conveyed by the term. Therefore, Rama is the very incarnation of dharma. Now, what about polity in Ramayana? How do you say that Ramayana had a sound polity? Ramayana as a political classic was based on an epic tale of trials, tribulations, and the ultimate tragedy of a righteous prince and his devoted wife Sita. Since it is a story revolving mainly around the succession in a well-established royal family that had inherited long traditions of governance, the epic touches on various aspects of the political concepts and practices of contemporary society. It elaborates on topics like society without a king, the matters of war and peace. The entire thrust is on the implementation of principles and practices based on dharma, long accepted traditions on ethical conduct. It's unlike other ancient texts on polity like Arthashastra of Kautilya that treat these matters as real politic. A state without a king or a ruler, as the Ramayana sees it, is like a forest. Society becomes then the victim of Matsya Nyaya. To this also, Professor Kapil Kapoor made his remark. The bigger fish swallowing the smaller ones, since there is nobody to control people's behavior, disobedience to all authority becomes common. Children do not obey parents, wives ignore husbands, agriculture is neglected, there is no granary, there is nobody to pay taxes. Corruption becomes rampant, people do not perform religious rituals like Vedic sacrifices, learning suffers, musicians and dancers stay away from public festivals if they are held at all. Such a situation is remedied by installing a king on the throne, for a king is Yama, Kubera, Indra, and also Varuna for his subjects, says Ramayana. Like Yama, he would punish the guilty. Like Kubera, he would bring prosperity. Like Indra, he would guard his subjects. And like Varuna, he he would guide them on the path of righteousness. In order to fulfill these tasks, the king has to be honest, truthful, trustworthy, knowledgeable, and brave. He should be of a religious bent of mind and perform sacrifices and other rituals. He should not act on impulse or in haste, but be guided by ministers and elders. Once a plan of action was decided upon, he should act it skillfully and strategically, taking care to keep himself posted regarding the intention and action not only of his enemies but also of his own ministers. It is his bounden duty to keep the granary full and his armory dry. A king who is capricious, unjust, weak, or lustful could be removed, imprisoned, or killed by the subjects. No sin is attached to such an action since it is taken to restore the rule of Dharma. According to the system portrayed in Ramayana, succession to the throne was decided by the principle of primogeniture. The eldest son succeeded the father on the throne. Even if the younger sons were more capable and competent, it was the eldest son who succeeded. Consequently, the throne would pass on to the progeny of the eldest son, which is approved even by Manu. Jeshto Brata Pitru Samaha Katitaha Brahmavadibihi. Who is going to take care of the family responsibility once the father dies? It's the eldest son. That has been beautifully brought out dramatically by Bhasa in his Madhyama Vyayoga, where the eldest son is preferred by father, youngest son by mother, and therefore the middle son is left to be captivated by Gatotkacha. A king, if he was successful, needed wise and knowledgeable ministers, whose number was generally 8. A person to be appointed as minister had to be upright, honest, well-informed, and valorous. I am not quoting the originals here because of lack of time. For every one of these statements, there are originals in Valmiki Ramayana, in Devanagari. He had to be loyal to the master, always endeavor to safeguard the interests of the king. It was a duty of a minister to tender proper advice to king. You see, minister is there to advise the king and not to deceive the king. The most important thing. We have the classic examples of Amartya Rakshasa and Chanakya. You see how they were bounded by Nandas and Mauryas at any cost. It follows that only such a minister who was selfless and incorruptible could do so. Ramayana records a number of instances where, at crucial moments, the king consulted his ministers, as Dasharatha did when deciding on the appointment of Rama as a crown prince, or as Ravana did when confronted by the enemy. That's why we have the classic statement, Rama Ravanayor Yuddham, Rama Ravanayoriva. You cannot compare that with anything else. It's incomparable. That's called Ananvaya Alankara in our tradition. How is the war between Rama and Ravana? It was like the war between Rama and Ravana, that's all. You cannot give any other comparison in relation to this. How is the sky? Sky is like a sky. How is the ocean? Ocean is like an ocean. How was the war between Rama and Ravana? It was like the war between Rama and Ravana, that's all. Gaganam Gaganakaram, Sagaras Sagaropamaha, Rama Ravanayoridham, Rama Ravanayoriva. Kings, ministers, army, in fact, the entire administration existed only for the benefit of the subjects over whom the king ruled. The populace was to be protected against enemies and hunger. In an ideal state, the people were well-fed, truthful, learned, and given to the adherents of religion. In such a society, learning was encouraged and the learned were respected. That's the most important thing. Learning should be respected and people who have learned, they should be respected. Under the wise rule of Dasharatha, the people of Ayodhya had a healthy and a happy life without the blemishes of greed, lust, or wickedness. However wise and honest, a king had to face enemies. A well-provisioned army was his chief weapon. Warfare was conducted according to a set of well-recognized, generally accepted rules termed dharma. It is always Dharma Yuddha, never Adharma Yuddha. Before embarking on hostilities, a king was to send an emissary to his opponent. Emissary would not only convey the demands of his master, but try to persuade the opponent to settle matters peacefully. As you can see, the character of Hanuman. How exactly Hanuman went to Ravana to find out if at all there is any chance of reconciliatory measures so that war could be avoided and Sita could be brought back to Ayodhya with the consent of Ravana, which he did not give, and hence war became inevitable. Only when such attempts at conciliation failed, armed aggression was to be resorted to. The emissary was inviolable. Thus, Ravana would set Hanuman free and Rama would set Shuka free. It was considered unethical for a third party to actively intervene in a fight between two warring parties. Vali castigates Rama for having shot him while he was grappling with Sugriva. The justification offered by Rama was hardly convincing. War was treated as a necessary evil to be avoided by wise rulers. This has got background from the supremacy of law. An excellent definition, king can do no wrong, was never accepted in Rajadharma, the constitutional law of ancient India. Dharma was regarded as supreme or ultimate authority, and the king was given only penultimate authority and not the ultimate authority. As Brihadaranyaka Upanishad clearly states, Kshatrasya kshatram yad dharmaha dharmat param nasti ato abaliyam baliyam samashamsate dharmena yatha ragnayevam. Law is the king of kings. Nothing is superior to law. Law aided by power of the king enables the weak to prevail over the strong. Firstly, the above verse, by laying down that Dharma is the king of kings, it was emphatically laid down that king was bound by Dharma and he had to function within the four corners of Vyavahara Dharma and Raja Dharma. Secondly, it declared that no one is superior to law. This is the principle we have adopted. Thirdly, it laid down the law that the whole support aided by the power of the state, a weak can prevail over the strong. Thus, the doctrine that in the eye of the law, everyone is equal and the law comes to the rescue of a person who is subjected to any legal injury. However weak he may be, however strong the person who was subjected him to injury was laid down firmly. In Ramayana, we have also observance of a dharma, a must, consultation essential and should be in secret, doctrine of separation of sovereign powers, meaning of Ramarajya or Dharmarajya, origin of lawsuits, classification of topics into civil and criminal courts, definition of Vyavahara, Jayapatra, administering oath and exhortation to witnesses, hall of justice, procedural law, king, the highest court, pleadings on defense, Mimamsa rule of interpretation. Knowledge of Mimamsa was a must for a judge. Who can be a witness? How to appoint a judge? These are all the various topics which are being dealt with. Protection against officers of the state and royal favorites. Once you practice all that, Ramarajya comes into being. It has become proverbial, you see, Ramarajya, an ideal state or a welfare state, to use our modern terminology. Sacrifice and an expansive vision can be seen throughout Rama's life. His rule was truly auspicious, land was prosperous, king was established in Dharma, subjects also lived true to Dharma. Ramarajya is famous worldwide as a synonym for ideal rule. An assembly of poets. A poet sang. However, Rama refused to accept the jewels without any reason. He ordered jewels be distributed amongst the needy in the kingdom, but there were no poor people in Ramarajya. Rama told the rich man to give the jewels to anyone who desired them, but not a single person in the kingdom of Rama wanted to accept the jewels without toiling and earning them with their own hard-earned labor. Jewels have lain here since then, as no one was willing to accept them. Bharata decided he did not want the kingdom rejected by his elder brother, whom he found to be equal to God. He traveled to the forest to bring Sri Rama back immediately. He fell at Sri Rama's feet with tears in his eyes, implored him to return and take up the responsibility and burden of ruling the kingdom. Come back with me, rule the kingdom. Sri Rama, pleased with his younger brother's love and devotion, embraced him with tender affection, wipes away his tears, and consoles him with love. Rama inquires about the well-being of the subjects. Even though he is in the forest, he is so conscious about the well-being of the subjects at subconscious level. I hope you are ruling the kingdom with focused awareness, wisdom, and self-control. This is what the questions of Rama to Bharata. Are you giving due respect and adoration to the knowledgeable ones, forefathers, servants, preceptors? Have you kept men of courage and wisdom who have gained control over their senses as your ministers? Sri Rama continues, are you working with enthusiasm and awareness? As night ends, do you reflect upon all that has been achieved during the day? I trust that you do not make unilateral decisions on matters of governance. At the same time, I do hope that you take the counsel of only a few people to make the decisions. I hope you are prompt in starting small enterprises. I hope that you accept the counsel of one intelligent, wise, knowledgeable person rather than 1,000 unintelligent ones. Remember that even if you have tens of thousands of men, they will not fittingly support you if they have no wisdom and discernment. Rama asked Bharata, are you giving the army their rations and salaries on time? I hope you do not delay in giving them what is their due. My brother, if they do not receive their food and salary on time, they will become angry with the rulers and wreak vengeance. So this is how it's called Rama Rajya. I think I'm transgressing time. Therefore, as conclusion, I just want to draw to your information from the point of view of present relevance. I want to quote this book. This is Rama Joyce, the former Chief Justice, former Rajya Sabha member, and governor of two states, namely Bihar and Jharkhand, Haryana and Punjab, who has in this book pointed out the statements of Ramayana and Mahabharata along with Shukranijasara and Kautilya's Arthashastra, what has been engraved in the walls and doors and entry of Parliament House in Delhi. I don't have time. I'm just showing you this. You see, Dharma Chakra Pravartanaya. This is there. The words are inscribed inside Lok Sabha chamber overlooking the speaker's chair. Now, the second statement, Svesve Karmani Avirataha Samsiddhim Labate Naraha. Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 45th verse. The statement inscribed on top of the entry gate to Rajya Sabha. Then, coming to Mahabharata, Nasa Sabha Yatra Nasanti Vriddhaha. Vriddha Nate Yena Vadanti Dharmam. Dharma Sano Yatra Nasatyam Asti. Satya Natatya Chalamabhyapaiti. Mahabharata 5:35-58. This verse is inscribed in golden letters on the dome near lift number 1, which can be better viewed from the first floor. Like this, the entire statements, just as Rama Joyce has worked out, I don't have time to go through that. Just to tell you that how exactly Rama Rajya concept can be brought into existence in the century has been worked out already by some of our great jurists. Only what we have to see is see those things, incorporate it in our daily life, and spread the message that Rama Rajya is no longer a utopian thing, but it can and is present even now in all its multifaceted, many-sided, myriad forms. I thank all the organizers and especially some of the viewers who may be viewing this with whatever little knowledge I had from my gurus that I have just shared with you. As in the beginning, I have told you there is nothing which I have to give you. You know already. It's only recollection and not something new. It's only smarana and pratyabhigna. I am not telling you something new. Because what has been told in the inaugural session by all the great people who are all elders to me and who are all respect worthy to me, I have just repeated some of those statements by taking some few stanzas from Adi Kavi Valmiki to that of Rashtra Kavi Kalidasa. That's all. Thank you very much. Let me close this with again Shanti Mantra. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Ramarpanamastu.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, when Professor Brijendra Pandey sir has told me about the Professor Ranganath sir, and I had searched about some literature which sir had written by. So I found that I think we must be invited to Professor Ranganath sir in our inaugural session. But my team have decided a resource person and guest for the inaugural session. So one sentence, uh, just uh, I memorized that एक मेरे टीचर्स हुआ करते थे, उन्होंने कहा कि बड़े वो क्लिष्ट इंग्लिश के वर्ड्स यूज किया करते थे. ही वाज द फैकल्टी ऑफ इलाहाबाद यूनिवर्सिटी हिंदी लिटरेचर. तो every resource for many students have told to them, sir, I had not understand your explanation and like this your poem. So once he had told me that I'm not teachers, I'm teachers teacher. So here I have listened to Professor Ranganath sir. तो हमें ऐसा लगा कि सर जो बात कर रहे हैं वो एक बहुत ही ऐसी ऊंचे लेवल की हम लोगों ने बात सुनी. मुझे लग रहा है हम लोगों में से जितने लोगों ने सुना होगा, शायद इस वर्कशॉप की यही सार्थकता होगी कि जिस कारण से हमने फर्स्ट रिसोर्स पर्सन के रूप में प्रोफेसर आई हैव इनवाइटेड टू प्रोफेसर रंगनाथ सर एज द फर्स्ट रिसोर्स पर्सन ऑफ दिस एकेडमिक सेशन. तो शायद जो भी लेक्चर्स होंगे तो इस लेक्चर से के रेफरेंस से, इस लेक्चर के साइटेशन से और इस लेक्चर के इंस्टेंसेस से वो बाहर नहीं जाएंगे, मुझे ऐसी उम्मीद है. सो सर, थैंक यू सो मच सर फॉर योर मोस्ट वैल्यूएबल लेक्चर सर. और वेरी सून सर आई विल कम टू शिमला एंड मैं आपके
You're
दर्शन
most
करूंगा
welcome.
सर.
You're always welcome. Please come and please bless me so that I can be of some use to somebody. Thank you so
ओके
much
सर, प्रणाम सर,
for this
प्रणाम.
wonderful opportunity. I'm grateful to you.
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर. So
So
participants, I
participants,
have
I have
sent
sent
the
the uh,
feedback link
feedback link
to the chat
to the
box.
chat box.
Please fill it.
Please fill it.